The word for the day is taxes. This one I'm doing for two reasons. One, I'm doing my taxes today, and so it's on my mind, but also because this is a closely related follow-up to the previous word of the day, government. And so when I say taxes here, I mean as in taxes are good. Okay? This is again something that Republicans have created a decades-long campaign to fool us on and get us to believe nonsense about it, and way too many Democrats have joined in on that particular crusade. Now, we all live in a civilized society. We live in a country where prosperity abounds, even in bad economic times. Most people are safe, healthy, happy, and have their basic needs met. And part of the question there is that all of that safety and everything, like this fire truck next to me, all of that is stuff that is paid for by taxes. And so in order for us to have that safe, healthy, happy society where prosperity exists, we have to pay for it. But more importantly, and on a bigger level, the reason why taxes are good is that taxes are our contribution to the society that makes it happen, that gives us all these rights, all these protections that many people in other parts of the world don't have. You have to pay in to society and help fund it in order to get back a great wealth of things that benefit you, whether it be, protection from foreign countries invading you. Again, you got to pay for that. Or it be freedom of speech. If you want your freedom of speech protected, somebody's got to protect it. That somebody has to get paid. That payment has to be done through taxpayer funds. And so when I say taxes are good, I also mean that the investment that you make in paying your taxes is one of the greatest investments in the history of the planet. Okay? And I mean that literally. So when I say that the small amount of taxes that we pay, and Americans are relatively low taxed. I live in Florida, so I'm even lower taxed because there's no state income tax, and other taxes are relatively low. I don't own property, so I don't pay any property taxes. So between my federal income tax, sales taxes, and a few other taxes that everybody pays, I get a really, really good return on that investment. So for instance, let's just talk about the whole list of things that I get for that. No matter how much I pay in taxes the rest of my life, I'll never even get remotely close to covering 1% of what I get for what I pay. So for instance, let's take a look at the first thing, right? What do you see right there? That is the road. Yeah, that's the road I drive to and from work. Now, if I were going to pay for that road myself out of my own pocket, I would never be able to afford it. And the cost of this road, just the initial construction on it, is going to be more than I'll ever pay in taxes. Not to mention the upkeep on it, the improvements, the expansions, all of those things, the lights above it, the cops who patrol it to make sure that people are safe, the ambulances that come get people who are hurt on that road. I could afford to pay for none of that in and of myself. And I get all of that for a very minimal tax investment. And I'm, middle class, pay pretty good amount in taxes every year, a few $1,000s. And I'll never get back that. Okay, let's talk about just the many, many other things that I'm paying for. See that bus? I could not afford that bus in years and years of taxes, and yet I've ridden those buses before. My children ride school buses sometimes, and those buses are all paid for out of this tax money that we get. See those power lines up there, that electricity grid that is, powering my home, my business, the restaurants that I eat at, all those places. Again, never be able to pay for that in and of myself. That national defense we talked about earlier, that national defense, the soldiers, the weapons, the diplomats, the stuff I don't even know about because it's top secret, all of that stuff, highly, highly expensive. Again, think of it, a B-2 bomber costs $2 billion, and that B-2 bomber is part of a fleet of aircraft that I could never afford in and of myself. Air traffic controllers that stop the commercial craft from falling from the sky or crashing into each other or falling on my head. those are all paid for by our tax investment. Colleges. I work at a college. I've attended college, and I paid a small fraction of what it costs for that place to operate out of direct payments. The rest came out of the general operating funds of the government. The government pays that. They pay my salary because I work at that college. Let's keep going. There's lots of other things. Again, you're talking that there are literally thousands upon thousands of benefits you get from paying taxes. And just one of them is something that you could never afford to pay for by yourself. So this concept that taxes are somehow bad, or that they're theft, which is what some crazy people say, or that they are somehow a crime, and they always need to be lowered, and that they're bad for us, and that they hurt the economy, all complete and utter bullshit. Taxes are good. Paying them is a patriotic and democratic duty, and paying them at a sufficient level so that you can earn and obtain all the services you need is something that has to be done. It's something we need to go back more towards doing stuff to talk about these things in a realistic way. That you pay a very small amount in taxes, don't care who you are, compared to the benefits that you get from those taxes. And if you had the choice to get all of these things and pay taxes, or not get any of them and pay no taxes, then you would take the pay the taxes and get these things, because you couldn't live without them. We can keep going on. You're watching this video on the internet that would not exist if it wasn't for government paying for it through your tax money. ARPANET, the original thing created by the military, which is 100% a government-funded institution paid for by taxpayer money. So we need to stop all this nonsense and get back to being honest, accurate, and talk about taxes as they really are, your contribution to the country and society that you want to live in, and that you take a lot from. And that's what we need to be talking about.